Welcome back to Needy and Normal, or welcome for the first time. I'm glad you're here. And this episode is going to be a mix of reflection and story time, and also some tips for moving through this transition that is back to school, and also into the fall season, and just a general change and transition that we all go through. And so I'm going to go through some realities and some normal things, and give you some tips on how to give yourself a break, but also be very intentional about how you move through this time. We're all going through something, even if you're not sending kids off to school. Maybe this is the first time you've been in your house without kids during the day, or without kids at all. Maybe you're an empty nester for the first time. There are some big changes you're facing regardless. And perhaps this isn't your episode to reflect on sending kids back to school. Maybe this is your episode for just facing the change of seasons and feeling whatever you're feeling, which is all normal, and then wanting to find some tips for moving through those changes. So regardless of kids being a factor or not, we are going to face a season change, and that's normal. So welcome aboard. Go heat up your coffee. Might be for the third time, especially if you're a parent. And let's get into it. This is Needy and Normal. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After years of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear. Meeting your needs is essential for living your best life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy because it's normal. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Needy and Normal podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Levering. And if you are tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for coming. I usually don't sing. My kids tell me I'm not a very good singer. If you're back for more, thank you. Means the world to me to have you here. I hope you are enjoying the content of these podcast episodes. This episode is number 76. And it is brought to you by ABL Life Coaching, which is my company I'm very proud of. Heading into our 6th year in business. I've absolutely loved being a life coach, specifically helping people through change and life transitions, including self-care and mindset shifting. It is my joy. I absolutely love it. And that is so much of what I bring here into this podcast. And a dose of reality and real life and my own life. I'm happy to be an open book and share, which I will do a bunch of in this episode, because we're going to talk about going back to school and the change of the seasons and the change of routines and shifting our brains to be on a totally different track. And if you're like me, you maintained somewhat of a routine during the summer, but it's easy to get off and be somewhere else kind of during the summer on a different rhythm, different bedtimes, different habits, all those fun things. So one, that's okay. That is good. I really hope you're not starting to get on your own case about, oh my gosh, they had so much sugar this summer, or I didn't work out enough, or we didn't get to do this, that, or whatever. Just cut that out right now. You are enough. Your kids love you. They had a great summer. And anything you didn't get to do yet for yourself, you're about to get to do when they go back to school, okay? I know, not as easy for full-time working parents. Shout out right away to the working from home while kids are home during the summer parents. Dang, that's not easy. I had a babysitter come in, let's say, it was almost every week, at least for my recording days, right? So I could tell her, get them out of the house. Love you, babies. You got to go. My babies are not babies. I have a going into 5th grade and going into 2nd grade. if you can relate, small kids, but not tiny kids, right? So they're fully capable of giving themselves breakfast and turning on the TV if I needed them to, which I took advantage of. But I tried really hard to organize each week in some way during the summer because I do have to keep this podcast and this business going. And with my husband traveling a lot, we just had to be really kind of intentional on how we managed our time, had the kids in some camps, did some travel, like we kind of spread things out. I'm actually really proud of how we got through this summer. And I looked at it in years past more of like surviving. I got to survive summer because just a refresh if you don't know. And if you do, my husband works for Major League Baseball. He's a radio and TV announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he goes where the team goes. So he's busy. He's traveling and he works a lot of evenings. Obviously, that's when games are. And so I do a lot of things on my own. If you've been a part of the show for a while, you've probably listened to a lot of different stories and ways that we've had to adapt and adjust. You might have heard my episode with my husband, with Jeff Levering. Super proud of that episode. Really dive deep into how we've stayed married, because that's one of the biggest questions we've had is, how do you stay married in this crazy life? Because even when baseball's over and during, like currently as I'm talking to you, my husband has begun his overlap part of the year where he does college football broadcasting and baseball at the same time. And then as soon as baseball is over, which I hope is not over for a while because the Brewers have been playing really well and it's been so exciting. But when that's done, he goes into basketball season, college basketball, right? And then that goes all the way through until February, and then he leaves for spring training in Arizona with the team, and it kind of starts all over again. So that is kind of how it goes. When people ask me about our off season, which is typical for a lot of baseball families, I just kind of giggle because we don't really have one. That's not how we operate. And one of the ways we've figured out how to do life is that we just weave in family time, couple time, vacations, or just coming on trips with Jeff. Like we weave it all in as best we can throughout the entire year to stay connected and stay in love and stay, enjoying each other as a family. Any chance we have to have dinner together, any chance we have to watch a movie together, play a game together, go on bike rides, like whatever, we take advantage. It's probably not as much as other people have an opportunity to. So we're very, very intentional, and that is going to be one of my themes on this podcast. I am going to give you some tips today on how to move through this transition. That is what I am, I suppose I'm an expert in, is teaching people how to move through change and face change. And one of the things I say, and I stand by firmly, is that anything that feels funky, weird, uncomfortable, scary, when you're going through something different, when you're going through a change, that's normal. And here on the podcast, we talk about what's normal, and we talk about your needs and obviously normalizing those needs. And so your needs can change. They can be different anytime. And one of the things I'm reflecting on, oh man, like I used to need these kids to go back to school. Like, get out of the house, go back to daycare when they were really little, go back to school, like go get out of my face. Like I actually am kind of sad at that self of mine for feeling that way. But I remember just feeling really overwhelmed for such a long time and stressed out by their presence, mostly because I'm just such a hands-on, mostly stay-at-home mom. Like I have this business that I love. I love having this podcast, but my priority and the majority of my energy and attention is on the family. And that was the agreement, right? I'm going to start this business, but I am going to focus primarily on the kids and then the family. So I would get to this point during the year and I would be really ready for them to be gone. And to the point where my son, who's almost 11, finally, looks at me and he goes, I bet you're ready for us to go back to school. And I feel kind of bad saying this, but full confession, this might be the first year that I felt really like that was incorrect. No, I looked at him and I said, no, buddy, actually, I really am sad. I've had so much fun with these kids. I've had a different mindset this summer. Like I was very intentional. I didn't accept any new clients. Usually I get busy during the summer. I don't know why it's a summer thing, but I usually get busy during the summer. I get busy during the fall too, which I love. So openings now for one-on-one coaching, by the way. But I did close off my offerings for the summer, and I focused on my current clients. So I still have my current clients, and I was intentional about not taking on more and just keeping up with the podcast, and otherwise I wanted to just really focus on the kids. And so any like business opportunities or things that were coming up and whatever, I just kind of said, listen, I'll get back to you in September. And it was hard for me to say no to a few things, but I had to, because I made this promise to myself and I made this promise to the kids, and I stuck with it. And so I ended up really enjoying my time with them, really enjoying time that we were so intentional about who we hung out with as far as friends and going on vacations and all that. We were very intentional, and family time, and my sister had a baby. There were so many good, ooey gooey, happy things that happened over the summer. And even though we faced some trials with owning a house and having to fix things we didn't want to fix, but we had to, some of those downsides were not so down. And we were more involved with baseball season, and my son had a baseball season, and my daughter started soccer. It was like a lot of just really exciting things. And just, I was so intentional with where my energy and my attention went. I think it really helped. And so I'm sad. They get on the bus tomorrow morning and bye-bye, sayonara, back to it, right? And you might be in the same boat where, well, for one, if you're sending children off to school, you might have already done that by now. And two, you might actually feel the way I feel, like, oh, don't go. It will feel really empty and really sad in the house. And I will 100% go right into being busy and organizing my day differently and filling it up intentionally, but hopefully not too quickly. I'm going to have to take a pause and kind of mourn the end of the summer of my 7 and 10-year-old, because they will never be 7 and 10 again. And we will never have a summer like this again. And not to be like, oh, real bummer, down, sad. But looking at that in that way, it makes me have more gratitude and be so grateful. And my husband and I had some intentional time together too. And it's been good. So I will be sad when I say bye, see you later, have a great day at school. And it will take us some time to get used to getting back into the rhythm of things. We have some new activities on the calendar, and I'm trying not to travel. I love traveling. I feel like I pack my bag like every other month. So intentions are big. That might be the theme of this episode. But as promised, I am going to run through some tips, some how-tos, and some things for you to think about, in the sense of it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to normalize what's going on. I am excited for the kids to go back to school, for them, new teachers, see their friends, get into their own rhythm, and they're excited. They made me feel better that they said, we're not so sad that summer's about over, because we're excited about school. They both felt that way. They have their new outfits and their backpacks. By the way, side note, are you the type of parent that hates, that might be a strong word, but I think I hate going to do back to school shopping? Am I in bad company or good company? I don't know, but I don't give a shit how many number 2 pencils you get. I will go order that box and have it sent to your classroom, and I will feel really good about it. It saves me time. I'm not that kind of parent. I like to save time. I like to be efficient. However, I do like to take them back to school shopping for the backpacks, the water bottles, the lunch boxes, the shoes, and the outfits. One, like, first day of school outfit. Like, I think that's fun. I think that's manageable. Beyond that, like, what if you forget some stuff? What if you go to the store or it's out, right? Like, I've done this before, right? Even ordered on Amazon. It's like, out of stock. And then you get all worried about making sure they have everything they need on the first day of school. I'm also a big fan of letting go of, if something's not in your control and they're out of number 2 pencils, then what are you going to do? You just, you got to wait for it, or the teachers, whatever. But it just feels like a stress I don't need. So I just, eliminate it. So I don't know about you. Do you love back to school shopping, or like, do you like picking out their pencils and markers and crayons? And I don't know, but I'm not. So maybe that's just me. So there's my side note. I'm very pleased that Jeff was around and was able to take the kids to meet their teachers and put away all of their school supplies that were there waiting for them in a box that I ordered back in June. I'm sorry. That was a real big win. So happy that that's all done. Excited for them. but it will feel different and it will be sad. And I will be very happy when they get home after school so I can hopefully hear them tell me everything that happened during the day. But we will talk about this. Kids aren't always the most talkative after school, are they? No. And that's okay. First of all, let's call this how to number one. I'm moving through this transition. Let's recognize that change is happening. Let's recognize the natural, normal phases of things that are happening as they come, right? So if things feel off or awkward or uncomfortable or scary, for yourself or for the kids, that's okay. That's normal. It's good to feel all the feelings. It's good to recognize what you're moving through and what feels off and what feels maybe what feels good. You might be able to recognize something that you weren't expecting. And so it's good to kind of own those and recognize things as they come up and know that they're okay to feel. It's okay. So let's just go ahead right off the bat and normalize whatever you're feeling as you move through this new part of the year and moving back into what feels like old routines, like riding a bike, but also it's new, right? It's a new year, it's a new school year, it's a new season. It's not 1995 fall, when I'm recording and releasing this, it's fall of 2025, right? So things might be different. And you might also be having some intense nostalgia from when you went back to school on your first day and all that. So clearly this is the theme of going back to school. But as you listen to some of these tips, it's also moving through any number of changes that you're facing and the season change. And side note, seasons change for a reason. It has to happen. It's evolution. It's normal, right? And it's something we expect. So, fall is coming. I can tell, the leaves are changing. It's starting to feel crisp in the air. You start to feel signs. Well, you might get some of that from yourself as well. You might start to feel a little off or a little stressed out or a little cranky or excited or having trouble sleeping. There might be signs your body will start telling you before your mind kind of catches up that say change is coming and it's okay. Second tip, as you're moving into these changes and transitioning, to accept these changes, keep things simple. Right? So if you are overcomplicating your schedule or your mind or your to-do list immediately, as soon as this stuff starts to happen, you're going to get overwhelmed. And there's no need for that, right? Just ease into it. Do what's absolutely necessary. Prioritize what absolutely is essential first, and then you can build on that as you get used to your new schedule, as you get used to the kids' new activities, as you switch over. Maybe there's something going on at work that you need to get used to. There's no need for you to pile up and overcomplicate things. So keep it simple. Do what absolutely has to happen first, and then go from there. Number 3, I love this one because I think we all need this reminder. Manage your expectations. Manage your expectations. You might have dreams of those brand new shoes staying clean all day on the first day, and she may come home and they may be an absolute mess. I'm fully expecting that, speaking of expectations. And instead of being like, dang it, those are brand new, and getting all upset, you just accept that, that's okay. It is what it is. You can clean it, accept it, move on. It's just a small example. But managing your expectations, on a grander scale too, is not expecting everything to go perfect, perfectly smooth. There are going to be bumps in the road. Things are going to be off. The bus might be delayed. There was the first year Brock took the bus to school, he was, 25 minutes later than he was supposed to be. And I flipped out and I realized, oh shit, how am I supposed to know where the hell my kid is? This is not what I expected. And I know there's apps out there now where you can follow your kid's bus. I want that. Just putting that out there into our district universe. We would love an app to track and stalk our children. Thank you. But I freaked out, right? So I called the school and then they had to call the bus driver and they're like, it's okay. They're just, first day of school and everything was a little delayed. part of managing your expectations is expecting that, things aren't going to go smooth for other people too. And it's going to be okay. Take a deep breath. If, your kid puts on 2 different color socks, if, you forgot something in their lunch, if, the thing you were supposed to have signed and ready wasn't there yet, like there are going to be things that get missed. And if you're like me, I used to be so hard on myself about that. I used to think I have to get it exactly right or else. And if I didn't get something right, if I messed something up, if I missed something, I would almost completely panic. But what I do know about myself, and you might be the same way, is I'm a really good problem solver. And if I just shut my brain up in the frenzy and get it on track for action, I'm a pretty good problem solver and I can get it done. So I've taught this before: accept and then add action to it. So accept, okay, it is what it is, this is happening, and then throw action to it. But the thing is, you can manage your expectations no matter what. So before you even start the day, give yourself grace, give your kids grace, give your kids' teachers grace, give the bus drivers grace. Like, everybody's going through a first day and a first week, right? It might take a few days. So take a deep breath and accept that things will not be perfectly smooth, but everything's going to be okay. You believe me? Okay. Right? Okay, good. So I love this one. Let's call this step 4. Self-love, self-care. And that's for you, mama or daddy, or whoever is listening to this. Maybe you are, an empty nester for the first time, or maybe you're just listening to this out of sheer curiosity and just want to know, like, okay, if these steps help for getting through the beginning of a school year, maybe they'll help me get through the beginning of this next season. But self-care and self-love is absolutely essential when you're going through a transition in your life. I swear by that. I coach by that. I live by that myself. When you love yourself by taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself through change, it does get easier, it does feel better. And this does kind of attach to, keeping things simple, managing your expectations. Some of the best ways to be kind to yourself and love yourself and care for yourself is to lighten up on some of that stuff, right? And that eases up on the mental load and the heaviness that stress brings. So part of your self-care and your self-love is just to be kind to yourself and be compassionate to yourself. And I'm a big fan of doing something nice for yourself every single day, but especially when you finally get the kids off to school, do something nice for yourself. Go get that fancy coffee. Go have a foot bath. Take a walk. I mean, you pick. Go read a book in quiet. Drink that hot cup of coffee. Whatever it is, do one nice thing for yourself, especially on that first day, and show yourself some love because you deserve it. You've worked hard to get through summer and get everything organized and ready to go for the year. It's a lot of work. It's so much work. So do something nice to yourself, hopefully every single day, but especially when you are just getting into this and easing into this new school year. Okay, next is compassion for the kids. If you think about transition on you, on us, it's a lot, right? We have to do a lot of preparation to get them ready to go and reorganize a lot of things. But these kids are going through a big transition. New teachers, new friends, old friends, possibly with some drama. I mean, they're facing a lot of new classroom, new activities. My kids are both starting new activities this year. There's a lot of new things that they have to adjust to. So the transition for them is big. They might have some big emotions. They might have some moments of frustration or tears, or they might act weird or awkward or out of control at times because they are adjusting to all these changes. And kids, especially younger kids, they haven't quite mastered, controlling their emotions and figuring out what they're feeling. So a lot of times they'll act a certain way and they have no idea why. And so we have to show them grace and show them compassion. And instead of getting frustrated that they're not getting on track right away, which is something I used to do, we have to show them some extra love as well and compassion. And sometimes I will straight up look at my kids and be like, do you even know why you're upset right now? Because if you have no idea why you're upset, it's okay. And give them permission to lose their shit and to not know what's going on and to feel all the feelings because they're going to get over that little moment. They are going to move through it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be incredibly messy, but giving them some compassion to feel their feelings and move through it and adjust, the way that they need to adjust is okay. And it might feel off and uncomfortable for us as parents to watch them go through certain things. They might be overtired, right? They might not be getting enough sleep at first because they have to adjust to a new sleep schedule. So we have to show them some compassion and love. For me, I have to just shut up. I know I'm going to have a lot to say if I don't just close my lips and let them say what they're saying and feel their feelings. And, even if they fight with each other, if you have siblings to deal with, sometimes that's going to ramp up a bit, even if they've been around each other so much all summer. Like my kids, I used to freak out because they would fight so much just because they were around each other so much. And that might be one of the big changes I've had to face in a good way, is that they're fighting a little bit less, not a lot, but a little bit less. They've become more friends. So for all I know, instead of them fighting more after school, they might be warm with each other and happy to see each other. And I might have to, step aside. One of my favorite things is to be a fly on the wall with them. They're so cute, especially because my son has had similar experiences or same teachers even as my daughter. So he'll even ask her, hey, did you guys get to blah, blah, blah? Or does your teacher have this in her classroom? And I love just listening to them go back and forth. So sometimes I don't even have to help this conversation begin. They might have this fantastic after school conversation that I just get to be privy to and listen to. And it is so much fun and so damn cute to listen to them go back and forth about their day or what they played or whatever they experienced. So whatever they go through and move through and however they act, you just be there for them, right? Just hold their hands, even if it's metaphorically, and let them be their messy, crazy psycho selves for a minute because they'll get there. They'll get there. They'll get back into a rhythm too. And just like not putting too much on yourself, don't put too much more on them. Give them exactly what they need to do. Yes, do this. Yes, do these things for school or whatever if it's absolutely essential. Help them prioritize and organize too, but don't add to their list. And trust me, I have this whole chore list, this weekly and, daily thing for them. But I told them, I said, listen, you can see I filled out the chore chart. We're going to ease into it. I was very clear about that. And because I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. And I also don't want them to completely shut down and blow me off and do none of it. So show compassion to your kids. Okay? And lastly, be really intentional about your connection time. And yes, this is with yourself as well. Make sure you going back to that self-care, have that connection time with yourself. But obviously in this case, I'm talking about with the kids. So you've read these statistics about when to connect with your kids, when's the best time to connect with your kids. If you haven't read these things, I'm going to enlighten you. There are 3 really good times to connect with your kids. I try very hard to follow this. It matters so much to me and to my husband in this household. This is something we swear by. We connect during the morning time. This is what we follow, but nothing I created. It just also happened kind of organically, which I'm very grateful for. But morning time is one of the best times to connect with your kids, like right as they wake up. And I know mornings can feel hectic and crazy, but if you can find even just 5 minutes to slow down and have a snuggle, a hug, like a short conversation, good morning, how did you sleep? I love you. It's so good to see your face. Like do all that gushy love stuff right in the morning, right? To start everyone's day off right. And I love waking up and then greeting, the day with a grateful heart, and having something grateful, something I'm grateful for on my mind. And my kids are my babies. Like I'm most grateful for them, for my family, for my husband. Like the morning time is a great time to have that intentional connection with them. Okay. Even if it's like 3 to 5 minutes. Then the next time, right after school, when they're hangry, not the best time. Some people do have success with that. I don't. So if you have great success with right after school, how was your day? Tell me all the things. God bless you. I don't have those kids. I have the get out of my way. I need the TV and a snack. And I give them that. I think that is totally fine. And they know their limits, but I'm like, you know what? Yes, I'm going to feed it and I'm going to put it in front of a TV because or not. Maybe they just need to go read a book or sit quietly. Like, it kind of depends on how hot they come in the house, but that might not be the time to connect with your child. And in our house, it's give our kids a snack and let them chill for a minute. And then at mealtime, come into the kitchen. A lot of times I'll stand at the counter and they sit in the bar stools, and that is like our time. And my husband too. We'll stand as long as we're like close together and can talk to each other, or we'll obviously sit at the table. Meal times are really important to us anyways. We don't have a lot of sit down family meals. So when we do, or when it's just me and the kids, I am very intentional about, we're going to turn off all the electronics. We're going to look at each other in the eyes. We're going to catch up. So that's a really good time. This is one of the statistics too. It's when you wake up and at meal times, and then this last one, which is right before bed. Now, as your kids get older, they're teenagers, they're like, good night, mom, I'm going to bed, and then you like can't see them until the morning. That's not always, you don't always have to let that happen either. And granted, I don't know if I have room to talk because I don't have teenagers yet, but I know that even if you had that 2 to 3, 4, 5 minutes of intentional connection time, even with your teenager, I know that's meaningful. And that's, like I said, another statistic is that's a really good time to connect with your kids. So for us in our house, we always have read a book and chat and catch up and giggle. And that's usually the longest I get with them of that one-on-one time. My husband too, and he's here. It's really special. And I actually joke with my son, he's the older one. I said, you're going to snuggle with me when you're 15. That won't be weird, right? He's like, no, mom, I'll always snuggle you. So I don't know if I'm going to hold him to it. We'll see. But it's valuable. Even if he's just sitting on the end of his bed and I'm standing in his room like, hey, like, how's your day been? Or, what's been going on? Anything you want to share? Or, anything you especially loved about your day? Or something you hated about your day? I want to hear about that too. And just be genuinely interested in your kid. And we lay next to them, we chat, we catch up, and then we snuggle, and there's that lovey fest, right? Again, and then we say goodnight. So those 3 times, right when you wake up, at meal times, and at bedtime, are really essential. Really good time to connect with your kids, because otherwise it's kind of crazy sometimes, and it's fast paced, and there's a lot going on. So if at least you can slow down during those 3 times, that would be great. And you can take that same rhythm into your own personal self-care too, is if you have a few moments alone by yourself in the morning, take a deep breath, find some gratitude, be nice to yourself. And maybe, at mealtime, or, for me, sometimes if I'm cleaning the dishes, I will stop everything and I'll just take a deep breath and I'll just try and have a minute to reflect and just calm my brain. Or maybe I'm doing nothing and just go sit somewhere silently for 5 minutes. You don't need a long time to reconnect with a human being, including yourself, but it has to be intentionally placed, right? So if you have those 3 times with your kids, also you can do that with yourself. Maybe you like to say a prayer before you eat. And so at meal times, you can have that small, quiet moment with yourself to talk to your, God or whoever, the universe, whatever works for you, and have just that moment for you. And maybe that's a meditation. Maybe you're someone who meditates, taking that time for yourself. And at bedtime, that's when I try and meditate, which I need to now get back on track with. Getting up early in the morning and having that short great gratitude meditation is my favorite in the morning. And then also at night, that's that great intentional way to connect with yourself and feed your soul and take care of yourself too, because looking out for a whole family and being responsible for other human beings and trying to be intentionally connecting is really important. And yes, you get to do it for yourself as well. So let's review, and then I will send you on your way with love, and hopefully you're learning to normalize these wacky feelings and needs and things as you move into this transition period into a new season. So first, recognize that change is happening and that it's normal and natural, and if things feel off or awkward or weird or uncomfortable or scary, that's okay, and you will get through it. Keep things simple, prioritize the essentials, just stick to what absolutely has to get done before you add more and more to your list, because as you're moving into a change, easing in is going to make things feel a little more sustainable and better than if you just keep piling things on immediately. Manage your expectations. Give yourself grace, give your kids grace, because give the teachers and the bus drivers and everybody some grace. Things aren't going to be perfect. That is not the point. We are not here to be perfect. We are here to just live and learn and figure it out as we go. That we're not born with manuals, right? So give yourself some grace, manage those expectations. And if things go wrong or things aren't exactly as smooth as you would hope, take a deep breath. It's okay. They'll get better. Don't forget your self-love and your self-care, your self-compassion, especially as you're facing changes and moving through a transition. That is especially important. I promise. Please go prove that to yourself. Feel free to tell me about it. I promise you. Be compassionate for the kids. It's a lot of change and adjustment for them. This actually might be even more of an adjustment for them in some cases. You might have a little one going off to kindergarten for the first time. That's a lot of feelings. That could be their first full long day of school. You could have a kid that's starting their first year at college. That is a huge transition. So lots of love and compassion and grace for the kids, no matter what age or where they are in their school of life. And then lastly, choose that intentional connection time. And you can choose your own adventure on that. For me, like I've said, it's morning time when they first wake up. At meal times, in this case, with school and such, it's dinner. And then I'm very intentional on Sunday mornings. We have pancake breakfast. We're very intentional. We chat, we hang out. And then again, at bedtime, which all three of these things, these connection times, you can do that for yourself as well, which I highly recommend. That's obviously part of the self-love and self-care that you need and you deserve. So be kind to yourself. Share this episode with somebody who could use some extra encouragement, and love yourself and love your kids through this period. And remember, if things feel itchy or weird or wonky, it's okay. You will get by. Just forgive and accept and move on quickly. This is a good test of your resilience, which you are built with. So you've got this, okay? I promise. Your needs matter because you matter. Thanks for being here. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Needy and Normal podcast. If you liked what you heard today, please share this with a friend, and don't forget to rate and review the show before you go. The Needy and Normal podcast is brought to you by ABL Life Coaching. Visit ablifecoaching.com to learn about coaching with a transition life coach. Today, I am now accepting new clients for the fall season. And don't forget to follow Needy and Normal Pod and ABL Life Coaching on Instagram.